Welcome in, everyone. We have another replay submitted by none other than MvPete. This is a special replay because this was a tournament of Bar Fight Night. We host those every Saturday. You can check out the official Discord page in order to get more information on that. He is going to be going up against his direct opponent, which is appearing to be either McLovin or Nebuchadnezzar. We'll have to see. One of them is going to be probably following the path. Either McLovin will be going down this way or Nebuchadnezzar will be going down towards MvPete. We will see. Probably going to end up being Nebuchadnezzar. Anyway, so this is a highly competitive game, a highly competitive match that we're going into, and it appears that MvPete has the plan of sharing his energy to his entire team in the early stages, which can be a very powerful play, especially if your team is coordinating together. I have noticed a lot of high level players will end up sharing not only their energy but their metal with their entire team, bringing those tabs all the way down as far as they can. MvPete is coming out here with a single construction bot, and he's got a whole entire plan of windmills and mexes being built there in the back. Excellent. A little bit of energy stall there just because wind speed is not treating us right. We've all been there. We all know how it is. Cortex faction being a very energy dense faction, it's common to stall on energy towards the very beginning of your build. And mostly we're not going to be focusing on other players here. This isn't going to be the same as what you would see with the Brightworks, where he does a game overview, but rather we're going to be focusing on both the player and the person in opposition to the player to see how they perform against each other and to give a little bit of tips on how to improve. So let's go ahead and zoom out here and see what's going on the battlefield. We've got a few grunts pushing up with a couple res bots. I would actually advise MvPete to get those res bots sucking up energy rapidly. Oh, here we have a sneaky bombing run coming in from Nebuchadnezzar here and getting some value. A lot of value actually, taking out a couple mexes and wind turbines here, and the bomber still has some HP left in it, so we'll see if he ends up being taken down on before he does his damage. It looks like we have two nettles up here, but he gets one more shot off, doing plenty of damage. That was infinite value there. The only question is, did it set Nebuchadnezzar behind on his income? We can see green is pushing up with some ticks here, planning on a little bit of harassment, but we've got a couple shuriken coming out, both McLovin and Nebuchadnezzar getting shuriken out to easily shut down any spam that comes his way. So Nebuchadnezzar's team is in a great place here, and I suspect we will probably be seeing Nebuchadnezzar eating up this lab relatively soon to try to maximize his gains on the front line, because he has no expansion, and that was a really greedy play. But MvPete definitely taking control of the map much more effectively so far. Let's take a look at the economy and what the plans are for expansion here. Zooming back down. Okay, this constructor, what's his game plan here? He's got a decent amount of mexes, no LLTs, which is actually surprising to me. LLTs can be pretty handy for stopping spam, so that is definitely a surprise. Although it could be a good idea to maybe just have a second constructor coming up behind your first one, building LLTs afterwards. But with the control on the front line, it might not be too big of a deal for MvPete. We'll see how it plays out. We got a good raid coming in here by MvPete, coming in, wrecking McLovin, not really his opposed teammate, but doing plenty of damage in very valuable high stake games like tournaments, it doesn't matter who your opposing force is. You just want to put in damage where you can, and that was a major shutdown. We've lost a base. Basically his entire base was wiped. Very, very effective here. MVP, I'm sure, is feeling great about that push there, and those rest of those guys will be mopped up. Let's go back over to see how scaling is going. We've got the commander pushing up on the front, single contour, and a nettle still, or I guess this would be a thistle, correct? Yeah, thistle still on the base, and that's just enough build power you need to really pump units. His build is a lot of grunts, a lot of construction bots, and very few grave robbers. An interesting mix. And I find it interesting that MVP is not using the repeat command, as I really enjoy using the repeat command for my buildings. I think for my factories, I think it's a great opportunity to lower your macro a little bit, make it easier to maintain focus on the front line. But each player plays a little bit differently, right? If you've been enjoying the video, definitely be sure to subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot and helps with other people finding Beyond All Reason content. If you want to hang out with me personally, check out the Discord. We now have Jaws Munch merch. We have some t-shirts and some mouse pads. If you guys want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it, and also sport around some cool items. I also want to give a big shout out to our biggest supporters, Nebuchadnezzar and Robot Robert. Thank you guys for the support. It helps out the channel a ton. Also, there's a brand new tournament that Nebuchadnezzar created called Bar Fight. You can check it out on the official Discord page for Beyond All Reason, and you can enter no matter the OS as a casual tournament. So we got the commander just helping with gathering these metal extractors being the most important part of this game for sure. And red coming to the front, Nebuchadnezzar giving most of those actually to McLovin, which is kind of a surprising play there. I guess he's wanting to focus most of his efforts on his macro back here, and just pumping to let McLovin do more of the work on the front line due to the fact his base got wiped. So Nebuchadnezzar more taking a support role here, it looks like. Green pushing up and doing damage as well, passing this front line, just seeing if the bases are being rebuilt here. This raid could be kind of devastating if it is not addressed carefully. And MvPete coming in, also going up against incisors. Incisors being very powerful units, but against this many grunts, it just doesn't matter how strong you are. It's not a good combination. Oh, MvPete going for getting calm rushed here. It looks like swarmed by units. They got to be very careful there to make sure they get that metal reclaim from that body. That's always a big issue in very high level tournaments. People fight tooth and nail over this reclaim. You can see that's 1,300, almost 400 metal just in one body. So McLovin's coming in with his commander to make sure that they solidify that metal. The commander obviously able to handle these grunts with ease and get right up to that metal. But the real struggle the red team's having is definitely with economy. There have been plenty of problems, and the back line has been getting harassed consistently all game, which means they're going to be outscaled regardless of the amount of metal they can suck in. In fact, they probably will end up struggling to spend it all, and that can be an issue in and of itself. So MvPete's got a very good hold. His economy's looking great, and he did a vehicle transition. This is something we see quite commonly. Whoops, sorry about that glitch there. This is something we see quite commonly in high-level games where people will produce a vehicle factory as kind of like a tier 1.5 to try to maintain the aggression they need. And it looks like we're pumping entirely Pounders, which are very, very strong against spam, very, very strong against bots. The only weakness I would say they have is rocket bots. If you do go for bots, rocket bots would be the best option to take out Pounders, but and also the fact that they are very slow, it makes them very difficult for them to dodge. But overall, the team is doing great. I think we're probably going to end up seeing a lot of pressure being put on McLovin's little base he has here. Green also just died here on the front. That is 2 commander bodies for the blue team lost on the front line, and easily taking all of that metal for themselves. That's honestly a big hit to the blue team there, because that's around 2,000 3,000 metal just dropped on the front there. I think it's maybe 2,500 metal. So they got to be very careful. There's only 1 commander left. And at this stage in the game, I would honestly recommend for him to fall back to his base to make sure that Space Dogeman does not get a snipe on him. But I'm not sure if he's recognizing the danger in that there as he is pushing forward and doing quite well on the front here. Rocket bots can be pretty nasty to deal with as well. So let's see here. Our front lines are getting very, very well established, and there's a ton of metal reclaim right here on the front line, which is good for MvPete's team. He's got plenty of expansion he can do with that, and he is starting to encroach over on this side as well into Nebuchadnezzar's side of the mexes, and starting to work on light laser turrets as well. I do think there needs to be a bit of an army here. We haven't seen a lot of aggression from Nebuchadnezzar yet, more just being a support role and pushing units out. And he ends up building a forward vehicle bay here, which is a little bit unique. I don't often see 2 vehicle bays being produced at once, and I wonder if we will see this end up getting reclaimed later on. That would definitely be a wise use of metal. And so he's spamming out, it looks like, more incisors being very, very strong. It looks like they will be pushing in on this lonely construction bot, easily taking them out. Blue pushing in on McLovin's economy. McLovin's little forward base is not going to stand a chance against this giant army of pounders and whistlers and just a huge mix of units. Thank you for the yippee. That, by the way, is chat, so don't worry about them. Anyway, so pushing in from MvPete, taking out this whole base here. Excellent job on their part. And I think we'll probably end up seeing this be game, especially if these res bots come in and suck up all that metal. That is a huge devastation, losing 2 bases already. Pretty intense, and they're shutting down these pushes. Those pounders just absolutely devastating to the incisor here, taking plenty of kill damage there. Easily shut down. All right, let's see, where does Blue go with the rest of his army? Pushing towards the enemy commanders, it looks like. I'm wondering if he's going to end up targeting. He's got to be careful of those D-guns. A commander can, if carefully microed, easily shred all of these tanks if they're not careful. But it looks like McLovin is energy stalled to the max, and Blue or MVP is pushing on the red economy here, which will end up ending the game. They just have such a good hold of the front line, and we see that the resign call coming as those pounders and tanks are pushing, and Nebuchadnezzar team kind of undecided here on whether they should resign, but it's looking like it may be over here. So very well played by MvPete in his tournament games for Bar Fight Night. And it's only really a matter of time before this game is over. So I wonder if they will leave it down to the last commander or end it a little bit earlier than that. We shall see. Pounders pushing in, and this economy's gone here. The whole base. Pounders just doing so much damage. Not to mention the stun they have. I really think Pounders have a little bit more capability than even the Janus with that compulsive shot they do that just absolutely makes it impossible to hit them with small units. We've also got a couple grunts coming in to finish up the job that is halfway done by the Pounders. And coming to clean up the commanders here, and the red team finally cast the resign vote, and it is done. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely subscribe. You can also check out our Discord page if you want to submit a video, and we will see you on the next one.